All right, guys, we're going to take a look at the Doxa Sub 200 Shark Hunter. It's a little bit different than the traditional Shark Hunter and all the other models where they have like a pop of orange on there. This one is pretty much just all black and kind of like an off-white or a cream colored. But more importantly, how awesome is it that Exquisite Timepieces picked up Doxa? They're now an authorized dealer for Doxa. So I have access to them. Now you guys have access to them directly through one of the best authorized dealers out there for any brand. So they just keep adding to the pile, right? Over 60 brands that they're authorized dealer for, plus their massive pre-owned collection. Pretty much, if there's a watch you want, odds are they have it or can get it. So now, like I said, we have access to Doxa, which is very cool. The Sub 200, where does it fit in? Some would say it's probably like an entry level to the brand. I don't disagree with that, but I want to share some points with you that I strongly believe this watch stands alone. And there's probably a pretty large camp out there that also believes what I believe. So the case width on this, depending on where you measure it, like if you do from the 40 to over by the 10, it's like 40. But if you measure like from here to here and you incorporate this slightly crown guardish extra little bit of width over here by the crown, it's like 42. But the watch does not feel like a 42 or a 41. Honestly, it feels more like a 40 on wrist. Part of that is the lug to lug is only 46. It's a nice short lug to lug. The thickness is 14 millimeter, but you have that box double dome sapphire crystal sitting quite proud of this also sapphire bezel insert here. And then of course you have that almost DNA collector style bezel grip surface on there too. That's nice and sharp and easy to use. Lug opening here, 19 millimeter. This might be the first watch where the lug opening is actually less than the taper of the bracelet. So it's 19 there, and then the bracelet instantly goes to 20 and is 20 all the way down. So beads of rice in the center, and then brushed standard pieces on the outside flank of the bracelet. And then the clasp, still tried and true stamped 4 micro adjust. The Jenny pressed logo in there, and then milled in the center part there, and then Doxa signed on the fold over. And then you have 3 spots, I think, on this with the Jenny logo. You also have it on the case back. When I say Jenny, that's the logo for the brand that owns Doxa. So you could look that up yourself. They do actually have their own line of watches, but they're not nearly as cool as the Doxa. And then also a signed crown done in orange. So pretty cool. 6.3 millimeter screw down crown, keeping the 200 meter water resist. You have 120 click bezel, and back in 2019, I think, 2020, somewhere in there, I'd have to look at my archives. I actually owned a Sub 200. I owned the yellow one, the Diving Star one, or whatever it was called, Poseidon or something. I don't know. The yellow dial one. And the 200 was released 2019 Bezel World, and I kind of remember my bezel not being as good as this. So I feel like there might have been some improvements in this watch, and the bezel's solid. The bezel feels great. Maybe it was great back then. I can't remember vividly, but it's great now. Inside, automatic movement, of course, and it's a 3-handed with a date complication. So we have either the ETA 2824 or the Sellita SW200. Back in the day, Doxa did put right on their website that it was the ETA 2824. They don't have that on their website anymore, so short of pulling the case back off, we don't know, because they have similar specs. 38-hour power reserve, 4 hertz sweep, and it's a date with 3-handed. So they basically have the same specs because they're nearly, a very similar movement to one another. I think one has 25 joules, one has 26 joules, but other than that, they're pretty much interchangeable for your application. So I'm not sure what's in here. We don't know. But both of them are good, so it doesn't really matter. Price point on this, that's why I say it's kind of entry-level-ish for the Doxa lineup, because it's nearly half the price of, once you jump up to the 300s or whatever and higher from there. So yes, it's under $1,000. That makes it more approachable in the lineup. However, I think there's going to be quite a few people that would almost rather have the Sub 200 over the 300. Hear me out on that. The reason I say that is because this case is awesome. The case on the other ones are awesome too, but this one stands alone. It has these insanely deep, the deepest lyre lugged kind of design I've seen. It like dips way down, and then that's even more augmented based on the way the bracelet connects to the case. So I think that feature on the case really draws me in. And then just the size, the shorter lug to lug, the 46, the fact that, yes, it's 41 or 42 if you measure the crown guards, is wider, but the watch presents more like a 40 millimeter. It's much more manageable for people with smaller wrist or just a preference for a smaller watch on their wrist. That's where the Sub 200, I think, all of those items make it so maybe you don't like Doxa in the first place because of whatever reason. That is part of what I just spoke about. The Sub 200 is different, right? So maybe that's an option for you. Here it is on my 7¼ inch wrist. You can get it on a rubber strap for a little bit less money, I think. But for me, because of the shorter lug to lug, the only way I would wear this shorter lug to lug like this is with this bracelet. Then it looks more appropriate on my wrist, I think. And you can get it in all the colors, the yellow, the orange, the blue, the white, all of that stuff. It would be kind of cool to see some more limited editions. I know when they first came out, I think there was a limited edition in this black colorway. But it would be kind of cool because they do limited edition in some of their other models. It'd be kind of cool to see it in one of these 200s as well. There's also a chronograph 200. I've never handled that watch, so I'll hopefully get that in for video. The other thing that, or complaint that maybe some people, I know I need to trim my nail. You guys can go ahead and call me out on it. I'm a mess right now. I got Band-Aid on one thumb. I need to trim my nail on my other one. But the loom application on the first ones were a little lackluster. Let's see if it's vastly improved or slightly improved, or if it's still a slight letdown. I think that might be brighter than I remember. We'll see how long it lasts. I mean, sometimes you can see it fade right away. It doesn't seem to be fading really quick. So I suspect there's been improvements on the loom application for the Sub 200. If you guys have, chime in the comments. Do you have an older one? Do you have a newer one? Let's compare notes here. But it seems like it's holding up pretty good. So loom seems okay. I do remember when I had my yellow one back in the day, the loom, even an initial blast like this, was weak. So it has to be improved. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next vid.